Hey everybody, this is Andrew with the We Are RIZIN podcast. Have a very special guest with me. With me, I have one half of the RIZIN English commentary, Michael the Voice Schiavello, who will be there live and in person this Saturday at RIZIN Otoko Matsuri. You can get it on rizin.tv for $19.99, a steal for the insane amount of matches and how big this card is. And it's at the Tokyo Dome. Michael, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, brother. Thank you very much for having me on. It's good to finally get on here. I'm a big fan of the show. I try to listen as much as I can. I heard your preview that you put out on YouTube a couple of days ago, and it was really well done. And I agree with some of your picks. I disagree with others, and I think it's going to be a fun show.
Oh yes, yeah. Yeah, that's a joy, the great thing about JMMA, I think overall is even if somebody looks like the favorite, you know what? You just never know with JMMA. That's the thing. There's just this great unpredictability factor that anything can happen.
I think the main one that I disagreed with you on, now your partner, I forgot his name, you're broadcasting the preview with, he chose Suzuki to beat Mikuru. And I agree that I think Suzuki is going to beat Mikuru. And I know you chose Mikuru to beat Suzuki, but I agree with your co-host on that one. I think that Suzuki is going to be too strong, have too much volume. I think he hits harder. I think he's more durable. He's got the better draw of the two. Yes, there's word that he broke his nose 5 weeks ago, and he's coming off that loss. Although against Dortbeck, as I said on the commentary, I don't think it was a loss to Suzuki. I thought that Suzuki beat Dortbeck. And the dude's just like, he's a juggernaut, man. He just keeps coming forward. He's a zombie. He's a juggernaut. You can't stop him. So even though Mikuru's had a long preparation time, that preparation was for Ren. And Suzuki is a 180 polar opposite to Ren. So, neither man has had a long training camp to specifically prepare for the other. But I fancy Suzuki in that one.
Yeah. What do you think about though that's barely a month turnaround, and especially like you said, you were there live. You saw how hard those two were hitting each other. He broke his nose. I think he had an injury. You think that would be at all a factor?
You know what? This is the funny thing. As soon as that fight, that event in Shikoku Island ended, Damian Brown and I went backstage and we said to Shingo, man, the match to make for Mikuru is Suzuki. They're both coming off losses. I think they're both riding 2-fight losing streaks, but they're coming both off losses. They're both wildly popular. They're both super exciting to watch. You could not find two more popular nor two more exciting fighters to put together on such a big show. And we were like, that's the fight to make. And I'm sure that, Shingo and the Brains Trust already had it in the back of their mind that was what they were going to do. And it was decided that, Ren Hiromoto couldn't go on and fight. I'm sure we didn't come up with that. But it's what we thought straight away. Thought, boom, there's the guy. That's the guy. That's the story. It's a make or break career fight. It really is. If you lose this one, you're on a 3-fight losing skid. And that is a recipe for end of career. That's a recipe for your next match being a farewell retirement match. See you later. You're never getting in title contention again. And certainly probably never being able to attract 50,000 plus to a show like the Tokyo Dome. So I think the storyline is great, and the styles that both these guys present just makes for a thrilling match. I'm so looking forward to it.
So that's one of the last points I will talk about with this fight. Both of them are on losing streaks, and I'm presuming they're going to co-main. I presume that the title fight will be the main, but I'm presuming that this is a co-main. And
correct.
You normally would not see that in a top tier organization. I don't think UFC would ever, maybe Michael Chandler will face a winner, somebody who's been on a winning streak or something like that, or PFL has a tournament, so that's kind of losers don't really face losers anyway. But what do you think about that they're both on a losing streak and probably co-main eventing?
It doesn't matter because the story is what sells. The rivalry is what sells. See, unlike other fight promotions, RIZIN isn't centered purely on records. So records don't purely make the matches. Storyline is more important. It's always been that way in Japan. It was that way for Pride. It was that way for Dream. It was that way for K1. When I used to have my K1 meetings before the K1 shows with our producer, we never talk statistics. My producer, Sasaki-san, and Dayajiri-san would always sit down and go through the storylines of every match. It was almost like pro wrestling. We knew what they wanted to happen. We knew the results that were the ideal results to happen, that A would be B in an ideal world. But of course, being fight sports, not being pro wrestling, we never knew, although there was an ideal avenue. It's the same with RIZIN. We've got an idea of who we would like to win to set up future storylines, but the most important thing is the drama, is the soap opera, is what you can sell to emotionally invest your audience on. And that's what, Shingo and Sakakibara-san and Hafid and all the team at RIZIN do so superbly, is they make you emotionally engaged in every fight. Now, again, as you said, two guys on 2-fight losing streaks wouldn't probably happen in the UFC, wouldn't probably happen in most other organizations, but no one in Japan bats an eyelid because they are all super excited to see Mikuru, who's just he's a demigod over there. He's a megastar, an absolute megastar. And Suzuki, maybe not to the height of Mikuru, but certainly right up there, nipping at his heels. These are two huge stars. So to see them go toe-to-toe in a match that has so many ramifications as far as careers go, it's a golden story for Golden Week, put it that way.
So let's talk about the main event. I think one of the most high-low fights that RIZIN has made, at least top 5, maybe even top 3 if you want to go that far. Clever Koike defending against Razabali Shaydullaev. And I was picking my brain about who I honestly, because there are so many factors in this match that can change at a light speed pace. Kleber with his jiu-jitsu background, and then but Shaydullaev, he's got that real high pressure, very grapple heavy, but also will be in your face with the striking. I picked Shaydullaev, but you know what? If Kleber won, I would not be surprised. What are your thoughts on this fight?
This is really interesting for me. Look, I'm a huge fan of Shaydullaev because he's just a wrecking ball. He's a monster. What is the guy? 3-0 in RIZIN, 13 fights, 13 wins, 13 finishes. He's finished all his opponents within 2 rounds. I mean, he's probably the most devastating finisher in all of mixed martial arts right now, in any organization. The record speaks for itself. You cannot fault that record. It's incredible. And he's doing it so quickly. But for me, the big question is, has he really been tested? Okay, has he really been pushed? Has he really been tested against a really high level guy? All right, when he fought, one Archuleta was out of shape. He came in overweight. Didn't get a chance to see him really get tested there. Koji Takeda, good opponent, but beyond his prime. So didn't really get to see him against the prime Koji Takeda. We're going to see him against the prime champion in Clever Koike. And when it's a championship fight, it's elevated that much more. You're suddenly thrown in the main event in front of 50,000 plus inside this huge UFO in the middle of Tokyo that is the Tokyo Dome. That's like fighting at Wembley Stadium in the UK, or like Madison Square Garden in the USA. It's that sort of atmosphere. So there's a lot more pressure on Shaydullaev than he's ever faced before, and fighting a guy who is also a genuine finisher, who knows how to take him down, tie him up, and tap him out. I mean, I think that Kleber's had, until his last bout, I think he had a 100% finishing rate in RIZIN. And he's tied for the third most finishes in RIZIN. He's 9-2 overall, 17 first-round finishes. So Kleber's another guy who knows how to get it done quickly. I agree with you. There are a lot of people out there saying that Shaydullaev's going to continue to steamroll opponents and is going to steamroll Kleber, but I don't see it. I think this is the big, genuine test that Shaydullaev needs, that we want to see for him. And honestly, it's not a popular opinion. I'm probably going to fancy Kleber to beat him. I think Kleber maybe exposes him.
If this were maybe Kleber 3 or 4 years ago, I don't know if you ever saw his fights of Pitbull, or the fights that he would always lose were against people who were either better MMA grapplers or high-level strikers who knew how to do grappling defense, like Pitbull. but he's gotten better at his boxing, and he's not afraid to really do that. He's not afraid to stand up anymore. Like we saw him stand toe to toe with Chihiro at
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
So I consider that, but but I'm reminded of the Yutaka Saito fight where he was losing, but that guy's still attempting to finish. He's really like probably the only comparison I can think of is maybe Oliveira,
Yeah.
from UFC, where this guy is dangerous every second that fight is going.
Well, so that's the beautiful thing about this being the title fight on the card is that it's a coin flip. If you really study it and you really look at Shaydullaev and you ask the question, has he really genuinely been tested by a very high level champion, which is what Kleber is? We're going to finally find out on Sunday. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait. This is a great main event.
Mm-hmm. Now we finally have Grand Prix back. Feels like it's been like 100 years since the last RIZIN Grand Prix, and of course they brought out the dinosaurs. If you saw that poster, they brought
I
out the
love it.
heavyweights. I know you're probably familiar with a bunch of them, but you could collectively talk about, or however you want to talk about, like how you think this first round will go.
Yeah, there's some interesting ones in there. I like Mikio Ueda. I'm a big fan of Kyokushin karate. I love that he brings his Kyokushin style into the mixed martial arts realm. I'm high on him. Shibasai, I don't know as much about as Ueda. I'm not as familiar with him, but I hope that Mikio does well. I like Jose Augusto. That's the LFA representative. Ed Soares, the president of LFA, has been openly Facebooking and tweeting about them sending their representative, Jose Augusto. Augusto's good, man. He's good. His guy's been around for a long time. He's got that background in kickboxing and Muay Thai as well. He's been practicing BJJ since his late teens. He's fought on a lot of very good promotions. He's fought in Bellator as well. He's a teammate of Pitbull, of course. I really do fancy him against Cedario. Although Cedario's going to have the size on him, I think that Augusto's going to have too many weapons for Cedario. Daniel James versus Samochuk from Poland. KSW guys, you can never underestimate them because they're tough. They're gritty. He's not the best KSW guy, but he's good. But then again, Daniel James is he's the older statesman of this tournament. I think Daniel's like 44, 45. So you've got to wonder if Father Time is going to finally catch up to Daniel James. Good contest. I would expect Daniel to maybe edge through, but a good contest. And then Soldatkin and, geez, I'm going to have trouble pronouncing this guy's name, Bakhtibekoglu, is going to be really interesting. I like Bakhtibekoglu. I've seen some stuff on him, not a lot. He's had like 4 or 5 first-round knockouts. I think he's had 6 wins by KO. He's just big, beefy bulldozer of a man. And, he's got these brutal soccer kicks on him as well.
You saw the same clip. You saw that same clip where he knocked down the guy and the guy fell down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We know, yeah.
Right, he's a combat sambo guy. I like everything about him. Soldatkin's no chump. Soldatkin's good as well. He's done Dana White's Contender Series, of course. He was disqualified for that illegal knee against Mario Pearson. He fought in the GFC and win there. He's had 10 knockouts, I think, 2 submissions, 15 or 16 matches overall. Going to be a really good matchup. They've done a great job matchmaking this whole heavyweight tournament. I think it's going to be exciting.
I always say that, and I did preface before the preview, it's heavyweight, so everybody has a puncher's chance. So that's what can happen.
There were some other people that RIZIN reached out to who are unavailable. So I know that they really did spread cast their net very far and wide, even down here in Australia. I won't mention any names, but there were people they reached out to. There was that question as to whether King Edipolo would get the nod after 5 weeks ago in Shikoku. But, big things are being mooted for King Edipolo. You see him out and about with Plinio Cruz, the manager and trainer of Alex Pereira. They're in Japan at the moment with Edipolo. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the King can do over the next 12 months with the proper guidance in his career as well. And, maybe we see him in a future version of this Grand Prix.
So we got to talk about the people's main event. Cody versus Cena. When I saw this, I had to do a double take. I thought somebody made one of those fake posters or something. But then I saw like all the Japanese Yahoo Japan was talking about it. I was like, oh my God. Cody shaves his hair because he did a hit and run, and he did that. Well, there's And then Cena, you know, this guy is like probably the most heel kickboxer fighting right now.
No,
Probably
no,
since Gilbert Yvel, probably.
no doubt, no doubt. He's the biggest heel in the world of fighting right now. I don't think there's another heel in any combat sport like Cena Creaming. You just know that on Sunday a rule is going to be bent or it's going to be completely broken. And the thing is, it's exciting, man. Listen, when this was released, this one, I was also like, oh, damn. All right, there's your freak show match. That's what it is. Let's face it, it's your fun freak show match. You've got a guy who last time I commentated fought Buakaw at like, what, 72, 73 kilos in boxing inside a cage in Kuji at the Japan World Martial Arts Expo at the Buntan last year against Cena, who in his last several fights has just blatantly broken the rules, almost caused an all-in brawl against Ampo, through the illegal spinning back fists. But that fight against Ampo was the fight of the night. It was the show stealer. It's the one that everyone went bananas for, and I think it's going to happen again. The size difference between the two, and the fight's set at 98 kilos, right? But the size difference is going to be staggering. And Kuji has such heart and determination that I think he can get on the inside and actually tag Cena on the jaw and maybe bang the body and bang the jaw and have a go at Cena. Cena's got to be smart. Nick Pettis in his corner is a real slick strategist. The problem is that, and I love Cena, man. Cena's my brother. I love the hero. He's one of my favorites. I love the dude, but sometimes he doesn't listen. Sometimes he's in a world. You know, he flicks the switch and it's just, it's rule breaking. It's brawling. It's not listening to what Nick Pettis is screaming from his corner. Look, this is going to be entertainment personified. On any mega Japanese card, you have to have at least one of these matches. This is the one. This might be the one, even outside of Suzuki and Mikuru, that the crowd goes most nuts on. It really could.
Well, I don't know if you saw, but apparently after they announced it, they sold a whole bunch of tickets because you know, Cozy, representative from Osaka, those fans follow him everywhere he goes, and so I'm sure that we're gonna hear the Osaka Kansai faithful for Cozy.
Peter's also got a massive fan base. You know, he lives in Japan. He has for a long time. And not to mention, they'll get so many Persians around the world tuning in to watch the hero. This has just got fireworks written all over it. I can't wait for this one. It's going to be fun to commentate.
I was the one again. I know we're a little bit short on time. But I want to give you a shout out. What's sorry?
You're good. Go a few more minutes. We're all good.
Okay. Yeah. Any other fights that you think that people should pay attention to that you like, that you want to give your thoughts and thoughts on?
Yeah, the one that really jumped out to me when I saw it as well was Daisuke Nakamura versus Taisei Sakuraba. Just because as soon as I see the name Daisuke Nakamura, I go back to Pride. I remember renting old VHS tapes back in like 2006, 2007, and watching Nakamura fight during those heady days of Pride when the guy he's about to fight on Sunday, when his dad was king of the hill. And that to me, that's crazy. I mean, Nakamura is a 20-plus year fight veteran, 53 mixed martial arts fight. He debuted in Pride back in 2002. That is nuts. This is 23 years later. Now, back in 2002, Kazushi Sakuraba was king, the greatest Japanese mixed martial artist of all time, no doubt about it. In my opinion, one of the top 10 mixed martial arts of any nationality of all time. A lot of newbies don't appreciate what he did back in the day, who he beat back in the day, how he brought a pro wrestling style from back in the day into mixed martial arts. And the beauty is that old, you know, UWF sort of style is going to come into play with Nakamura as well. You know, it's just, there are so many old school versus new school, the rivalry between the names. Of course, they never met each other, Nakamura and Kazushi Sakuraba. And I'm high on Taisei. He's a lovely kid. He's getting the guidance from his dad. His dad, Kazushi, will be in his corner again. He's exciting. He knows how to finish. He's a great grappler. To me, this also jumped out as a fighter I'm really looking forward to watching.
You know, I think we said during the podcast, the preview podcast, that the only thing that'll make this fight more perfect, Nakamura's got to come out with Tamura, and then Taisei's got to come out with Kazushi, and they got to do like a 2-2 face-off in the ring. Just like that whole generation of
That would be
Generation
great.
versus generation of fighters.
Man, I just look forward to seeing Taisei come out to the ring. If he comes out to his dad's music and the orange mask, or his dad's there with the orange mask on, the number 39 and all that. You know, it's really funny because people don't realize what a big star Kazushi Sakuraba was back in the day and still is. I commentate futsal here in Australia, or like indoor soccer, five-a-side indoor soccer, commentate the National League. And they have a Japanese player playing for one of the teams here in Melbourne who's wears a number 39 and an orange jersey because his favorite fighter ever was Kazushi Sakuraba. And this futsal player is like 20 years old. So he was barely even a couple of years old when Sakuraba was at his peak. It just goes to show the legacy that the name Sakuraba still carries right around the world. So, you know, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a huge day. Just to let people know, as you said, RIZIN.TV, 1999, myself and UFC veteran, RIZIN veteran Damian Brown calling the action, crazy screaming lady Lenny Hart, all the pomp, the pageantry of RIZIN, of course. The opening ceremony at 1 p.m. We're expecting to finish up by about 9 p.m., so it might be about an 8-hour show. I think there's 17 fights on the main card, 3 prelims. It's going to be nuts. But if you've never watched RIZIN before, watch this one, because Tokyo Dome, I don't think I've commentated at the Dome since, man, I can't remember. It might be 2008 K1 Grand Prix or 2009. So it's been a while. But I've been there at times where they've had like 72,000 people back in the K1 days. When Mark Hunt won it in 2001, I think there were 65,000 people there. When Ernesto won it in 2002, the 94 Bob Sapp, there was 72,500 people there. The atmosphere inside that place is crazy. And I'm also told, I've got a note here from RIZIN, and I'll read the note as I've got it here. Since Nobuhiko Takada graduated from RIZIN a while back, there will be a big surprise as to who will bang the drums and call the fighters out for the opening ceremony on Sunday. So there you go. RIZIN has some surprises in store for all of us. It's going to be nuts.
I like how they say he graduated from RIZIN. I don't know why that's just a funny way to put it. Before you go, Mike, just where can people reach you on social media?
Yeah, thank you, guys. Hit me up on X, on Twitter, at Schiavello Voice. The same on Instagram, at Schiavello Voice. Send me a message. Let me know where you're watching from on Sunday. You know what? I want to check X and Twitter while I'm commentating. I'll give you a shout out. Let me know where you are, what your name is, where your city is you're watching from. Try and give you a shout out live on air like I used to in the old days. And you know what? We're going to have fun. It's going to be 8 hours of fun, crazy fights. It's Otoko Matsuri. It's the men's festival. No women. The men's festival. It's Golden Week in Japan. So all the tourists are there. It's crazy. It's going to be 26 degrees on Sunday in Tokyo. A lovely day. It's going to be nuts. I can't wait.
As Mikuru said in the RIZIN Confessions video, this is the fight. It's the battle of masculinity. That's what it is. It's a battle of masculinity for everybody in this entire card.
I'll say this though, for those that haven't been to Japan to watch a fight show like this, you know, I'd say 50% of the audience is going to be female. They always are. You know, it's really such a strong female following in the audience. It was the same back in the K1 Max days. Not so much the K1 heavyweights, but the K1 Max. Man, that was at least, I reckon, 65 to 70% back then were women. And at RIZIN, I look around, I notice, I believe, honestly, it's 50-50 women. So it's just such good entertainment.
All the fighters are good looking now. Back then they weren't that good looking. Now they're everybody's good looking now. The fighters can kick ass and be models at the same time.
You know what? Masato is going to take issue with that, and I'm going to tell him personally.
He's the exception. He was the exception. he was the exception.
I'm glad you corrected yourself.
But yeah, for everybody, just again, RIZIN.TV, 1999, Michael Schiavello, Damian Brown on commentary. You can either buy the show by itself, or you can subscribe to the RIZIN.TV. Either way, though, you're paying one fee, all that. We'll have all the description in the bottom of how you do that. But Michael, thank you again for talking to us, giving us your thoughts on the fights. It's gonna be a long night, hopefully a fun night though. And yeah, looking forward to this Saturday.
It's going to be great. Thank you so much. Yes, Saturday in the US, Sunday Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and beyond. And we will be there live, guys. It's not a Zoom commentary. Damian Brown and I are live. I fly out tomorrow, which I know we're pre-recording this interview, but I fly out on Friday to Tokyo. We will be live at the Tokyo Dome for the commentary. It's going to be nuts. Once again, RIZIN.TV, $19.99. Going to be crazy. Thank you, guys.
Take care. And